house of God feels like home. I am Lady A, and where our pastor is Pastor Dr. Roderick Williams. We are here and we're excited about tonight. We are continuing our series on mental health. May is Mental Health Month, so we're continuing our series. And tonight we have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about self-care. And I am so blessed and honored to have my sister Tawana Payne is with us. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. Welcome to the IHOP Church on a Wednesday
Yes.
night. We're so excited to be live on Facebook since the pandemic. We have been going live and doing virtual services, so this is our norm. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to read a little bit of your bio. You have so much experience, and this is so impressive. I've just been kind of sitting here gazing like, wow, she's busy. Tawana Payne is a licensed professional counselor with over 8 years experience. She works with individuals, young adults, through elderly in a group practice based in Fort Worth, Texas. Tawana is also a licensed sex offender treatment provider in Texas and separately works in a forensic practice with clients mandated to treatment in the area of sexual abuse. Wow. She has a corrections and criminal justice background and obtained a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice from the University of Houston. Amen. And Tawana obtained a Master of Arts in Organizational Management from the University of Phoenix and a Master of Science from Tarleton State University in Counseling Psychology. Wow, you are, I tell you, I'm so impressed with this. Like,
Thank you.
I really, really am. And that's just a little bit of her bio. She has so much more, but we're blessed. We're honored that you would take out of your busy schedule, and you're very overqualified for what we're going to be talking about. But I'm so excited that you would stop by and help us continue this series with mental health, because I think it's important. I think it's just something that in our culture
Yes.
that we don't discuss a lot. But I think it's necessary, especially in the season and the climate that we're in, it's necessary to have these conversations.
Yes, ma'am. I
Yeah.
agree.
So I want to dive right into self-care. How do you define self-care?
And that's a loaded question,
Yeah, it
actually,
is.
because lots of people say, well, this is self-care, and I'm doing this, and this is my
Yeah.
self-care. And honestly, it is.
Yeah.
It can be whatever you choose it to be.
Yeah.
It would probably be easier to identify what is not self-care.
Yeah.
And that is going to be any sort of substance use or any sort of behavior that is harmful to oneself or to someone else.
Right.
That is not going to be considered self-care.
Gotcha. And a
Okay.
lot of people think that just, okay, because it feels good,
Yes.
that I'm taking care of myself, but really it's toxic and you're harming
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when I think about self-care, I guess for me, well, I just came from workout. So, workout to me is something that I do because I want to be healthy.
Yes.
I want to be healthy physically. I want to have energy, and I want to make sure I'm keeping my levels down because I'm not 20. Not 20
Right.
anymore, Tawana. So I want to make sure my blood pressure, my cholesterol, we have to think about these things as we get older.
Absolutely. Yes.
We can't do what we used to do, so we have to take care of ourselves and think more about, okay, what does this look like for me? So,
And at the core of the word itself, it's caring for self.
yeah.
And so if you find taking care of your physical health as
Yeah.
important, then you can consider that as self-care also.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What is being done for self-care?
So lots of people are now making sure that they are making time for themselves.
Yeah.
I know, unfortunately, with the pandemic, many people have been home. And
Yeah.
that may seem like, well, you haven't been going out, you haven't been going to work, so obviously you've had time to care on self, but that's not necessarily the case. Many people who have been forced to be home over the past year have increased their work production, and they have extra situations and extra chores and extra things just because the kids are home or the family's home or whatever the case may be. So
Right.
it's still not necessarily self-care.
Right.
So carving out time to take care of you would have to constitute then self-care, because it's not your regular routine.
It's not.
It is outside of
Right.
one's regular routine.
Right. And what I found out during the pandemic, I'm one of those ones, and I say blessed to work at home. Um, and it's well, it's a blessing,
Hmm.
but at the same time, it kind of depends on what you're doing and what kind of work do you do.
Right.
I work in fraud,
Oh,
so it's like I'm taking these situations home with me
Mhm.
instead of being able to walk away from it
right. And leave it at the office.
and leave it. My office is in my office in my home.
Right.
So literally, and this is something that I do for self-care because of the nature of what I do. It's intense and it can be stressful. When I get off work, I totally close the door to that. I walk away, I go in my room and I rest for like 30 minutes
Wonderful.
to detox my mind
Yes.
from that. So
Yes.
that's part of my routine.
That is wonderful. What I would add to that, or what I have encouraged my work at home people to do,
Yes.
is there has to be a clear separation between work and home.
Yes.
What we used to have was that long commute in this metroplex. We could be
Yeah.
in traffic for quite some time, but that would be our decompressed time.
Yes.
Right? Or that could be when we listen to our music, we listen to our motivational, speaking, or whatever the case may be. And there's this shift from work and home.
Uh-huh.
We miss that now.
Yes,
And
we
so
do.
walking out of a room into your living room is not necessarily
It's not a journey.
it's not an opportunity for you to decompress. And what I would encourage even in that moment is, if the weather's appropriate, step outside.
Yes.
Maybe walk around the house. Right? And in that, you're telling yourself, okay, work's over. Now it's time to go home.
Yes.
Something like that, so that you have a clear separation. That in itself could be a definite mode of self-care, where you just kind of separate the day.
I love that.
Because for many people, it just runs all together.
It runs all together. And
Yep.
and that mentally can really
It's
leave you
draining.
drained.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's very draining,
Very
because you're constantly on go,
Yes.
and there's no separation between doing this job and then doing
Absolutely.
the other job that many
Yeah.
people have when they get to their residence.
Yeah. So that's one reason why I said it is a blessing in some aspects, and then on the flip side, some days you want to just really leave it at the office
Right.
and come home and not think about it.
Right.
But because we have, home is our office and office is our home now.
Right.
But that is a great suggestion. I'm a walker, and I started walking 4 miles a day when we were in early quarantine, because
Okay.
I needed, and this is back to self-care,
Mhm.
because I needed to get out that house.
Yes.
When they
Yes.
closed down everything, it was like, man, are we just gonna sit here and look at each other 24 hours a day?
And it became a bit much quickly.
Quickly.
Quickly. We found out just how much we cared about each other. Yes.
How much we cared about each other, and how much do I need to care about myself?
Yes.
Because I need to be the best version of me for you, for
Right.
all of you.
Right.
So let me go walk my 4 hours. 4 miles.
4
4
miles.
hours. Felt like it. No, 4 miles. It took me about an hour and a half, but I felt great when I came back
Yeah.
to the house. So that's part of, that was part of my self-care. But I think that was a great suggestion, to separate working from home and trying
Absolutely.
to cut it.
A lot of us didn't recognize, for say parents who drop the kids off at school or drop the kids off at daycare.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes just into that, and not being able to do that anymore.
Yes.
Right? Like, that was their little thing. Like, I would drop the kids off and I maybe stop and grab me something from Starbucks or QT or something, and that was my let me get ready to go to work mode. Well, many people lost that.
Right.
Because the kids weren't going to school, or they weren't dropping the kids off at daycare.
Right.
So where's that little moment, separation between home and work?
Yes.
All of those pieces have been lost. So then you have to
Right.
recreate that to make sure
Yes.
that you're still using it, because some people probably use it as self-care, didn't necessarily identify it,
Yes.
but that's what they were using it for.
Absolutely. And I think, and so you said it a word, just those little moments, we forget how important and how, I know it's a routine, but I don't know about everybody else, but my routine, it makes me comfortable.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's something I can count on. I know that I'm gonna do this.
Right.
I know that I had a long commute, so it was sometimes almost an hour or 45 minutes. So listen
Wow.
to the news or music or talk radio. That was something that I can do. But we have to, like you said, we have to recreate our new norm.
Right. Yeah.
So how often should I engage in self-care?
Frequently.
I,
Very,
yes.
very frequently.
Yes.
Everybody differs. So what restores you and recharges you is different from the next person.
Gotcha.
And so that frequency depends on what your needs are.
Right.
And so how often you need, some people have daily self-care.
Yeah.
And if that's what you need, then that's what you need.
Yes.
If you have a tough job, for example, you may incorporate self-care throughout the day. And that could be small things also. And so the frequency of it really depends on your need.
Yeah.
Understanding that self-care helps us ward off burnout,
Yes.
right? And if we are burned out, our relationship with ourself is messed up.
Yes.
And so then how can we then have relationships with others
Right.
that are appropriate if our
Right.
relationship with ourselves is not
Absolutely.
working appropriately? So it's necessary to use self-care as frequently as you so need.
Absolutely.
There's no time on it, no limit or anything.
And what I found out, one of the things that I did during the quarantine, and I found out that a lot of people were doing it, because when you go to the store, a lot of the patio furniture was gone and the outdoor stuff was gone, because people were making their own sanctuaries. They were making their own retreats.
Yes.
They were making their own spaces, to retreat and go, because when you're stuck in the house with everybody, let's carve out my space.
Yes. Yes.
And let me come up here. And that's what I did. I have an upstairs patio that I had never used ever. I went and found some patio furniture. It was on sale, I think, at Home Depot. I decorated it, candles and pillows.
Yes.
And, it just made a little space for me. I can go out there, I can read if I want to be on my phone, if I want to do work, or something work from, not that stuff that I do
Right.
for the sake, but something that I enjoy.
Yes. Fun work.
Fun work.
Yes.
So I think that a lot of people kind of gravitated there, and they caught on. Hey, listen, I need some mental rest
Right.
out of this day.
Just separation and a break.
Yes.
And that break can look like anything. It's just we need to do it.
Yeah.
I cringe when I hear people say, "Well, I'm gonna find some time and do some self-care," and I'm quick to grab them and say, "What is it?"
Yeah.
Be specific.
Be specific.
You need to know exactly what it is that you are going to do
Yeah.
and when you are going to do it. You need to schedule it. You need to set a timer in your phone.
Yes.
Something, because just it's lofty to say,
Right.
but it has to be employed.
Absolutely. I think that is that is so important. You said schedule it. And sometimes when people think of self-care, they think, oh, I got to go to an expensive spa, or I have to, pay all this money. I can't afford self-care. But it really can be free. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There's so many other things you can do besides just spending money on yourself.
Absolutely.
As long as you're taking, like you said, that mental break and separating, yourself from all the woes and stuff you have going on, that's the definition of self-care. So,
I agree. I've heard tell of a nice bubble bath with some candles and some music.
yeah,
Free.
free.
Lock the door and go in, and those sorts of things. Or a great comedy movie that you enjoy
Yeah.
and you get a good belly laugh from it.
Yeah,
Sitting and watching that in its entirety.
yes,
That is self-care.
absolutely,
And it costs nothing.
absolutely.
It takes maybe an hour or two out of your day, and it allows you to sit there and mindlessly just
Right.
laugh and enjoy your time. It does not have to be costly. If you have the money to make it costly, now that's wonderful.
That's beautiful.
But you do not have to go to that extreme. Absolutely not.
And Tawana, what I'm past this stage in my life, because my kids are, I have teens and above. But what would you say to, like, the moms and dads that have the little kids, and what suggestions would you make for them? What could they do and they have toddlers and babies, and
cliche as it sounds, I say this far more than I probably need to, but I think it resonates. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And so parents oftentimes, husbands, wives oftentimes put the kids first. Unfortunately, if you put the kids first, they are not getting the best you.
Yes.
You have to put you first.
Yeah.
You have to take care of you. And so even if it is those small segments of self-care throughout the day, throughout the week, once a month, it has to happen.
Yes.
And so you must carve out that time. So if mom and dad can't get away together, and then okay, well, let's schedule some individual self-care time.
Yes.
You take them and let me go do this.
Yes.
And then I'll take them and you go, it's a teamwork, partnership.
Absolutely.
So that's what you do. But it has to be found.
Yes.
And so it doesn't have to be, the excursion and we travel and we get a babysitter. It doesn't have to be that. But you need to find something and work within you all's partnership to make sure that you can find that.
And to the Facebook viewers, if you do have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments. We do have some watchers that will actually let us know what those questions are so we can address those. Let's see. What are potential barriers to self-care, Tawana?
Well, exactly what you just said. And I don't have time. I don't have time. I got to do this. I have this. I got these kids. I got this husband. I got that wife. I got, right? The job is demanding, so on and so forth. We have every excuse in the book to not take care of ourselves.
Right.
And that's very sad. It is very sad with the current climate, with the pandemic and everything that's going on just in our society right now. The need for self-care increased significantly.
I think so too.
Over the past year. And the awareness of it, though, also increased, which is wonderful.
Yes.
And so a lot more people are grasping to what it is and recognizing that it is necessary.
Right.
And it's not just, your weekend trip to the nail salon or the hair salon, if that has become your routine.
Right.
Lots of times then the brain just says, oh, we're just going to the nail salon. That's what we do.
Right.
We're going to the barbershop. That's what we do. But if you decide and tell the brain, no, this is my time.
Yeah.
Now, you can make a trip to the grocery store self-care if you tell the brain, this is what we're going to do. This is for us, and we're going to enjoy it, and we're going to recharge. Then that's what it can be for. Absolutely. Barriers to it can be not knowing exactly what you need.
Yes.
And so you don't necessarily know what to indulge in to make yourself feel better.
Gotcha.
And so I liken it to when our cell phones get down to about 3%. We start frantically searching for a charger or something. We will ask strangers for a charger.
Girl.
Because we got to make sure that we keep a charge, right?
Yes.
But when we get down to 3%, we keep pushing.
That's good.
We don't stop. We don't plug in. We don't recharge.
Right.
We don't do anything. We just, I'll get through it.
Yeah.
I'll sleep later.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it later. And we expect 100%, even though we're working off of 0 or even negative.
Wow.
And so barriers to it is not recognizing that we have to recharge our batteries.
Right.
We have to take the time and refill our own cups in order for us to be capable of pouring into anybody else's.
Absolutely. And you did say something earlier about burnout.
Yes.
That can happen in any area of your life. Like in our women's ministry, we do a retreat. So I mean, it kind of put a damper on it with COVID.
Right.
But I wanted the retreat. We did a retreat. It was wonderful. I wanted the women to rest. I didn't have just activity after activity. I wanted them to have some them time, some rest time. It's this hour and a half. You do what you want to do. You recharge. I didn't want you to go back tired than when you came.
Right.
So I think we could get burnt out on anything, and I think that's why this is so important for us to be the best version of us, and whatever that looks like. However you need to make that happen, we gotta know that is important.
Absolutely. You can be burned out. Obviously, the most general is burnout at work.
Yes.
We're fully aware of that.
Yes.
And that looks like you're coming in a little late, you're leaving a little early, you're calling in completely, you're just not even going. Your productivity has significantly decreased. Yep. You're not turning out quality work like you used to. Those little things. Yes. Those are symptoms of work burnout. Yes. But we get burned out in family life, social life,
Right.
you know, and all of the different areas of our lives. Burnout is very, very likely.
Right.
And if you don't take the time, I mean, we have vacation days at work, and typically we take them,
Yeah.
you know, because we need to get away.
Right.
And then we go back, we recharge, and we go back at it. But we don't really take vacation
Yeah.
from our personal lives
Right.
or our social lives or
Right.
those sorts of things. And so it's definitely a risk.
Yeah.
Burnout is a huge risk, and if we don't address it, it can really turn into all of the other relationships in our lives being problematic.
Right. And I think sometimes shaking up the routine a bit.
Yes.
Because that can get you burnt out. You're doing the same thing. Oh, I'm very systematic and I'm very routine, and I just like that. I don't know if it's in my DNA. I just like doing the same thing over and over. But every now and then, you know, I want to do something different, and I think that's healthy. It's okay to take, you know, if you just take a nap every single day, maybe don't take a nap, maybe go for a walk. You know what I'm saying?
Change
Maybe
it
go
up
to
a little bit.
Starbucks and sit and drink some coffee.
Right.
You know, something like that. I think mixing it up a little.
Well, complacency kills.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Sometimes a little bit of discomfort is necessary.
I like that.
When we get too comfortable,
Yeah.
we let our guards down, we let our barriers down,
Yes.
and we kind of just, you know, you nestle in.
Yes.
But sometimes we need to be just a little bit uncomfortable because
Yes.
that keeps us on our toes, that keeps us changing it up a little bit,
Absolutely.
allows us for just a little bit of discomfort, and you should welcome that.
You know, I think, and Tawana, I think that during the pandemic, a lot of us, I can say for me, we did get real comfortable. I mean, I had 5, 6 outfits.
In regular rotation.
in regular. I think I posted this on Facebook. I said I had 7 outfits, and people was like, "Girl, you doing good? You had 7."
That was a lot.
And all of them were warm-ups.
Very comfortable wear.
Very comfortable. So I think we all got kind of
Yes.
complacent, you know, and it started because it started drawing out. This quarantine started drawing out.
It just
so
kept
long.
going on
It
and
just kept going on and on. And then I'm gonna tell you, one of my friends posted this. She said, "Every now and then, you better try on some of them jeans."
just to bring you back to reality.
Because the warm-ups will lie to you.
But the jeans will not.
The jeans will tell the truth.
That is true.
So I'm telling you, I think we all may have gotten, you know, a little bit of pounds on us, you know, during the quarantine. Because we were, just like you said, we were getting comfortable.
Yes.
We were getting complacent. But now that the world started reopening, you know, we need to start opening our minds up to doing stuff a little different.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How do we practice? Oh, this is a great question. How do you practice self-denial as a Christian while also practicing self-care? I like that, you know, because people say, "Oh, you're being selfish. You need to put your neighbor first."
So, at the most basic level, I always challenge when people are concerned with selfishness or coming off as selfish. The question to yourself is, am I harming myself or anyone else? Am I neglecting any of my responsibilities? If the answer to those are no, you are not being selfish.
I like that.
But you must ask those questions first. Obviously, if it's yes, then you need to reevaluate where you're going. But if you are not bringing any sort of harm or anything to anyone, and you are taking care of your business, you're not being selfish. And you have to consider it is self-care. If I don't do it, who will? It's for me.
Absolutely.
And so I must do it for me.
Absolutely.
It's not, you know, Lady A to Tawana's care. It's not. It's self-care.
Yeah.
And so I can't be selfish if I'm caring for self.
That's right.
Now, we can be selfish, obviously, but that's when you are neglecting responsibilities or you're engaging in harmful behavior, which, as I said, is not self-care. But you ask those 2 core questions, and if you can answer those with an emphatic no, carry on.
Because, Tawana, you're not saying go and take a bubble bath for 10 hours and your kids are running around
starving,
tearing tearing up the living room.
No.
Your husband coming home, ain't nothing to eat.
No.
You know, that's big.
Babies.
Yeah.
Get the husband set.
Yeah.
And then inform him. Don't just disappear.
Yeah.
Inform here. Okay,
Right.
I'm getting ready to go partake in some self-care.
Yes.
And he says, okay, and you disappear and you take
Right.
care of them. And then again, you don't stay in there forever
Right.
because you still have obligations to attend
Right.
to. And so, yeah, as long as that is being taken, you're communicating what you're doing. When some people, and another thing in all seriousness, that when people disappear,
Yes.
right? And I need some time to myself,
Right.
and they disappear off the face of the earth, and we are all worried about them. We
Right.
don't know where that's not either, because that is harmful,
Right.
right? So let somebody know.
Right.
If your self-care means I'm going to go get a weekend room at a hotel and just engage in, me time,
Right.
let somebody know.
Yeah, let somebody know